Mike, how's it going? A bit wet, isn't it?
It is a little bit damp today, I've got to say.
So what's the inspiration behind your balcony?
We all live kind of busy lives. I live in the city, and I wanted to kind of represent a place where you could get away from it all, where you could feel like you're in your own private sanctuary in the sky, which is why it's called the Sky Sanctuary Garden.
Let's talk about materials. What's going on here?
I suppose the main talking point of my garden is this recycled plastic board I've got on the planters and on the wall. It's made from recycled chopping boards, but the way that it comes together, it looks like this marble effect. It just shows that you can use things a little bit out of the ordinary outside. You don't have to be constrained with just kind of timber and brick and stuff.
What are the challenges of designing for a small space then?
I look at it in terms of kind of garden Tetris, I suppose. I wanted this to be a practical space that people could look at and kind of take away and use in their own gardens. So I've got dining area and a kind of more intimate seating area and this amazing metal pergola, just to give some height to the balcony and also make it a little bit more enclosed. There's going to be a hanging rattan seat in it so you can get in there and get cosy. And it's just about taking into account the kind of human dimensions and how you're going to move through the space.
Hi Nicola, what are you up to?
Well, just checking the distances between the pots for the timber benches, just to make sure they fit in correctly.
Yeah, I love how seamless it's looking.
Well, they interlock into the pot, so hopefully when all this comes off, they appear to sort of cantilever and float.
Oh,
That's
lovely.
the idea.
So what is the theme behind this design?
It's inspired by early modernist architecture. So when I studied architecture, because I'm a qualified architect, I studied Carlo Scarpa and Peter Zumzer, and they're very into detailing and form and texture. So I've tried to incorporate some of that into an interlocking kind of theme.
So what hurdles have you encountered designing a small space like this?
That everything has to be just so. Because you're in such a small space, you can't lose faults anywhere. You will see everything, and when you're sat in the space, you will be looking at everything. So to try and get everything square, set out correctly, proportionally right, you have to be mindful of weight and size. Yeah.
I like the balance, it's good.
Yeah.
Hi Martha, you're looking very busy there. Rain stopped.
Thank God for that, hey?
What's going on here?
Really what I was after was to provide a sense of escape. So I've used reclaimed doors, reclaimed timber. They come from exotic places. And then I've kind of emphasised that with my use of plants as well. So I've got some exotic plants here. I've got a yucca aloefolia, and I've actually got a pomegranate tree coming as well.
Wow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
I am loving those doors.
So I was working with a client, she's an antique dealer, and we were going to put some doors in her garden as a feature. And I said, oh, have you any more? And she said, yeah, I've got loads. And there were about 25 pairs from a palace in India that was being knocked down, and I chose this pair for here.
So all of these materials had a past life and a past story, and you're kind of bringing it all together into this balcony.
Yeah, and I think I've sort of spent ages hand-picking them so that the textures kind of all work together. So it does feel like it's got a bit of a history to it then, all of them, but hopefully they'll all work together.
Here it is, Martha's finished balcony. Did you reckon you get finished in all that rain?
I know, that was a bit bad, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's always tricky, but the team are amazing, and they just work through whatever's going on. Can rain or shine, they just carry on.
So quite a few intense days of planting.
Yeah, and even when they were dealing with the doors and the wood, you know, they were just working straight through. Nothing stops them cracking on.
I can see how it's all come together now. You look really comfy sitting on that seat.
It is, actually, it's the first time I've actually sat on it. It is really comfy, and it's actually quite nice.
So tell me a bit about your pergola swing seat.
So the pergola is reclaimed jarrah, and the swing seat is made from the same timber, and we reworked it into this tiny little swing seat. And the plants are climbing up the plant supports and hopefully framing the person sitting in the seat.
Oh, it's framing you wonderfully.
Thank you very much.
So how did your vision influence your planting choices?
So because we were doing the show in autumn, it gave me the opportunity to use things like the salvia, who are in full throttle now, and dahlias, which flower at this time of year, and then also the fact that the grasses are actually flowering, so you get to see them. But what kind of happened accidentally was the colour of these little flower heads on here seemed to match the backdrop beautifully
But I'm loving the contrast of the
Thank you.
Actia.
Yeah, the Actia, it's gorgeous, isn't it? That leaf, oh my god,
It's
love
beautiful.
it. Love
And then
it.
also the contrast of the yucca with all these kind of soft plants, and you've got that architectural structure of the yucca behind you.
Yeah, and the colour of the bark's really lovely. And I chose Echinacea alba to pick out the white on the bark.
So there's a real element of unknown when it comes to this door. It kind of makes you intrigued as to who wants to walk through it.
Yeah, no, it's a lovely thing to bring in an old door, because it's definitely got a past. It's got a patina, which is lovely, but it also has that thing of whose hand touched it, who stood the other side of it.
You look so at peace in your swing seat, after which I'm sure was an intense build. I could spend all day here.
Yeah, it's good.
Another brand new design